Colorado with a very interesting situation at quarterback. So Pete Thamel from ESPN reports that Ryan Staub is going to be the starting quarterback at Colorado when they play Houston on Friday night to open Big 12 play. And we saw this play out during the Delaware game, which shockingly was on Big Fox, because I know Deion Sanders sells, but I don't think they had a lot to choose from that day for Fox. But this was very interesting to watch because you saw Caden Salter start that game. You saw Julian Lewis, the highly touted freshman, come into that game. And then Ryan Staub came into that game. So everybody kind of got an equal shot against a similar opponent. And what Ryan Staub did, there's no guarantee that it translates against a Big 12 defense, but he looked awesome. He looked spectacular. And this is a guy who's been on the roster. He came in for Shedeur for a period in 2023. There was a game Shedeur got knocked out of.
He played
the Utah game. Yeah. And Ryan Staub played it. And so he's been on the roster the entire time. So Deion Sanders knows what he can do, understands him very well. And you saw the way they structured the playing time for this game. So how did it work, Ari? It was a couple series each.
So Deion Sanders said that after the Georgia Tech game that he preyed on the quarterback scenario. And like, if you were following Colorado, your thought process would be that there were two people in that prayer, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. Caden Salter, the Liberty transfer, who, was presumably here to start for the year while Juju Lewis developed. And the other one obviously is Juju Lewis. I don't think that anybody thought, myself included, that Ryan Staub was a part of the equation, but basically what Deion Sanders said he decided to do, or what he landed on, was to start from the beginning, give all three of those guys multiple possessions, and to let the tape tell the story. And I think Caden Salter looked, fine. Like, there's nothing spectacular. They were up, I believe, 10-7 when they pulled him out. Then they put in Juju Lewis, who looked like a freshman, 2 for 4 for 8 yards. He was sacked once, I believe. It wasn't like what you were hoping it would look like. Then they put Staub in, and then by the time Staub came out, it was 31-7. So he threw a long touchdown pass. I think it was a 75-yard touchdown pass. Looked really, really good. Was explosive. People were freaking out about it. Then after the game,
got the ball out on time. I want to point that out. Got the ball out in a very timely fashion.
After the game, when they were interviewing, that 71-yard pass to Sincere Brown was like really, really nice throw. And Brown was wide open, but he put it right on the money, got it out on time. They were interviewing Staub with Deion Sanders on the field for the post-game television interview. And Staub said he had a dream for why he didn't transfer. They said, why didn't you transfer? You could have left multiple times. Like, why are you still here? You weren't part of the plans, or didn't seem like you were part of the plans. He said, I don't know. I had a dream. And I enjoy playing for Deion. And then Deion interrupted and said, yeah, he's like Martin Luther Staub is what he called him.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. And he said it again in his post-game news conference. But I thought that this was really, really cool because here's the thing. We were at Big 12 Media Days in Frisco a few months ago, and Juju Lewis showed up wearing a $140,000 watch. Okay.
Right.
It was a AP Royal Oak. And I thought that was the coulest thing in the world.
Audemars Piguet.
Yes.
Sorry.
And you pronounced it properly. I'm proud of you. You're not into luxury items.
I'm not.
I know more about luxury items than you do, and that is the only thing.
I'm into lift kits.
Yeah, you are. You're the truck lifted up guy. You want your truck like facing the hood of the.
No, not squatted. Squatting's dumb. I
want you to squat your truck. That's all I want.
I'm not a 23-year-old who lives in Myrtle Beach.
Have you seen those memes that say, I'm not going to tell anybody if I hit the lottery, but there will be signs. Yours will be a squatted truck.
Yeah, no.
But
never.
Somebody hit the lottery, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. A few people.
I did. 2 people. But let's continue with Caden Salter and his watch. Or no, Juju Lewis and his watch.
Yeah, sorry. But what I was going to get at, Andy, is I thought it was cool that if you're going to go get out a 5-star prospect or a high-end 4-star, and that's the person that's going to replace Shedeur Sanders, and you want him to continue on what we know of Colorado, which is flashy, loud, exciting, and interesting, then you bring that person to Big 12 Media Day, and it isn't a typical succession plan the way that you would see at other places. You know, in my time covering all these media days, I think you can count on, one hand or, at most two, how many true freshmen show up to those things. And I thought that was like a cool thing for Colorado to sell to future players to bring. And I think that there's this notion from everybody outside, including myself at times, that Colorado is going to be loud and flashy and that they're going to do things in a typical way, and that we view Colorado's entire roster through that prism. We view it through the Travis Hunter prism, the Shedeur Sanders prism, the prism of excitement, the prism of fame. And I think that we lose track of the fact that Colorado's roster, at least 2 years ago, was very transient. There are a lot of players on this team from diverse backgrounds. And if you look at how many players Colorado brought in over the course of the past 2 or 3 years through the portal, 85% of those players are anonymous. People don't know who they are. You know who Shedeur Sanders is. You know who Travis Hunter is. But if you go ask the regular college football fan who their outside linebacker is that transferred from, God knows where, they don't know. And then I thought it was really special to see a player who initially committed to Colorado under Carl Durrell, which you would think would be completely non-existent on this roster.
Yeah, and basically, I mean, Deion, when he got there, said most of y'all aren't going to be here.
And
which includes the guys who committed to Durrell.
A person who committed to Durrell at the quarterback position between Shedeur Sanders and Juju Lewis and Caden Salter would have every reason in the world to leave. Why would you stay there? You're not of the culture that they are making because you were there in the losing culture beforehand. You're young. You think you can play. Why wouldn't you go to a place that more illustrates what? And there are so many players on this roster that did not leave, or players that came in anonymously who have put in work behind the scenes and then allowed, once he got the opportunity and he shined in the opportunity. I thought it's cool that the atypical guy that you aren't talking about all offseason is the person that's starting on Saturday. And I think it's a lot about Deion.
Can I tell you what Deion did that reminds me of Jim Harbaugh a little bit?
What's that?
So do you remember Jim Harbaugh going into the 2022 season? So they win the national title in 2023. This is the season before. 2021 is when they break through and they win the Big Ten. Cade McNamara was their starter in 2021. J.J. McCarthy was a true freshman. Modelo. I think a lot of Florida fans and LSU fans cracked a cold Modelo after those games on Saturday night, because the Florida fans are just trying to, wallow in their own crapulence. And the LSU fans are like, wait, is the offense good? I don't know. But that's the sort of thing you ponder with a Modelo in your hand, because Modelo is the official beer of college football. It's the perfect reward for your fandom. It's the official sponsor of the college football playoff, the place everybody's trying to get. If you're listening to this, you have been recruited, and it is time for an ice cold reward. And that reward is a lovely, lovely Modelo. Nothing like taking some time, cracking open the can, flipping open the bottle with peeling back the foil like it's a special gift, and thinking about where your team's at. If you're listening to this, it means you live and breathe football all season long, and that makes you a full-time fan, which means you deserve a Modelo. So tonight, as you think deeply about where your team's at, where your coach is at, crack a Modelo. It'll help you ruminate. Going into the 2022 season, remember, Harbaugh splits up. They had a couple kind of early season, basically preseason games against overmatched opponents, and Harbaugh splits it up. He's like, I'm going to give McNamara this game, and I'm going to give McCarthy this game, and then for game 3, we'll kind of figure it out based on who performed well in game 1 and game 2. That was Harbaugh giving the guy who started for a Big Ten title team a chance, but he knew what was going to happen. He knew that when J.J. McCarthy started, it was going to look completely different. And there's a reason J.J. McCarthy won a game on Monday Night Football as a first-round draft pick against the Bears last night for the Vikings, and Cade McNamara plays for East Tennessee State now. These are reasons, and Jim Harbaugh knew this. I think Deion Sanders, now he had a different situation because they opened with Georgia Tech, And then they have this Big 12 opener against Houston on a Friday night this week. So the Delaware game is really their only chance to experiment. I think Deion Sanders knew what we were going to see. I think he structured it that way on purpose. I think he did it in that order on purpose. And I think he knew what was going to happen because he sees it. He'd seen enough of it at practice to know what was going to happen.
And I don't know what this means for the long term. Pete Thamel reported on Tuesday, as we were recording this show, that Staub is expected to start for Colorado on Friday night against Houston. He has yet to speak with the media. I think he's scheduled to speak on Tuesday. He will have spoken, I think, by the time this comes out. We're not going to say that he's 100% the starter. Deion could say that, more than one are going to play still. But I think it's pretty evident from what I saw on Saturday that Juju just might not be ready to play as much as we thought he would. And Deion
made that very clear after the game. He said there's a lot of stuff, and he doesn't want to throw him in earlier than he needs to, and then
you don't want to couch him. Yeah, you don't want to get and I get it. But maybe that doesn't mean that he's done playing or that he won't continue to develop in games if and when those opportunities present themselves for Colorado. But the thing that I think is most interesting here is, like, what do you do with Caden Salter, right? Like, and this is a player that we knew or have seen play at a very high level. But the biggest takeaway, more than anything, Andy, is that if this situation were happening anywhere else, this might be a footnote at the end of a show, if that even. And the thing that makes it so interesting about Colorado is that Colorado is a program that is filled with characters. You have Deion Sanders, the most famous head coach maybe ever. You have Caden Salter, the high-level transfer that played at Liberty, who was effective during an undefeated season for another team, who was supposed to start this year and kind of hand the reins over to the next, great quarterback or the next Colorado quarterback.
And you have Julian Lewis, who on his recruiting visit has Shedeur Sanders handing him the keys in a photo. Right. A symbolic gesture.
And, like, who doesn't want to, if college football is an entertainment product, and I was trying to explain this to somebody over the weekend. It's like college football is more like pro wrestling than it is like the NFL, because the storylines that happen off the field are so bizarre and so out of left field. You don't even really think about it. And honestly, I hadn't thought at all about Ryan Staub for 2 years. I didn't even consider that this was a possibility. So the fact that we are in this position now makes it, I don't know that Colorado is going to go win the Big 12. We've made fools of ourselves in the past, betting against them, and, maybe they'll surprise us again and be there. Because you know what, man? I know that Georgia Tech spotted them a bunch of turnovers at the beginning of that game, but Colorado could have, maybe even should have won that game. And beating Georgia Tech in an opener would have been a hell of a way to start your season. Like, maybe they'll surprise us. But, like, what if Ryan Staub is just awesome? What if he's just awesome for the rest of the year, and that's how they found their guy?
It's entirely possible.
Made a joke at the end of the call. I was like, somebody, his time is now. Get him a diamond-covered Casio.
I think he should wear a G-Shock just for fun.
Some G-Shocks are incredibly expensive. Like, there's some rare ones out there.
I know they've become a thing now, but just get the normal cheap G-Shock and just, like, run for a touchdown and hold it up. Be like, this can take a pounding.
Is the G-Shock the official watch of college football coaches?
I don't know.
Not like officially, but like a lot of coaches wear it, don't they?
I have not noticed that. I don't pay attention to watches as much as you do, but I will keep an eye on that. I don't know.
Dude, there's an $8,000 G-Shock round cut diamond prong cased watch for sale at Trax NYC, which is a diamond dealer in New York City, for $9,000. If you want to go get that for him, like, that would be.
I think he'd do well with the $100 one. I think that's more the style. So, Ari, this game is going to be very interesting. Colorado playing at Houston Friday night. This spices up the Friday night slate for sure, with Staub potentially starting for Colorado at Houston. Conner Weigman, former Texas A&M quarterback, is now Houston's quarterback. The Cougars trying to, in their new conference, trying to establish a foothold. They're 2-0. They've beaten Stephen F. Austin and Rice. But now conference play begins, and we see what happens.